Okay, we're good. Hey everyone, this is Q&A with Jim and Jim. We do this every couple weeks. It's always fun to see some actual faces. So I want to see your face. If you're on here, cool. You get bonus points if you turn your camera on. It's kind of fun to be able to do this and see everyone's faces and go over questions, comments. This is very free flowing kind of a thing. We don't really have an agenda each time. Each episode just kind of takes on a life of its own. So if you're here, great. If you have any questions, comments, put it in the chat, raise your hand. Hey, this is a total free flowing, so I'm just glad you're here. Everyone's jumping on right now. So if you're on time, you get 2 bonus points. So, all right. How's it going, Jim?
I'm good. It's been crazy. Just trying to get caught up from Vegas, and I've been on back-to-back calls already today. So it's kind of fun.
Well, again, I know I've said this many times, but I know you wear a lot of hats. So the fact that you squeeze this in too in your busy day, I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else appreciates it too, that we can make the time and do this.
Yeah, actually, this morning I did a call and we started looking at some reports, and kind of similar to last time where we had the young lady said that she wasn't getting any traffic, and we started looking at the one report in SiteLink, and it was more the fact that they're getting traffic from the website, but the managers aren't logging any leads in. So they had 27 website leads in a month. They had 2 phone calls and 3 walk-ins. That was it. I'm like, okay, so we're not logging calls.
Wow.
So,
yeah. We've talked about before, if you don't log it, it doesn't exist.
And that was it. It was just really crazy. But no, Vegas was good. Had a really good conference. It was funny because I had actually a guy from Hawaii walked up to me and said, "Hey, you guys were the best session all week. I really liked it." I said, "Well, I'll come to Hawaii and do a consulting job for you, try to get myself to Hawaii." But because my wife was when I turned around and said, "But you can't go." And I got a highlight of the week. I got a hug from Eva.
Oh, there you go. There she is. You changed your hair color on me. You're on mute, but you're good.
I did. I changed it yesterday, actually. I bleached it all out. Changed it to purple.
I was going to say, she wasn't purple last week when I saw her.
Yeah, it changes very quickly on you. You will never know.
So yeah, I got a FOMO going on since I wasn't at the SSA show. How did your event go? It was like 4 hours, wasn't it? The day
almost 3 hours. I thought it went well. Trade show was busy. I saw Sherry. and gave her a pack of Uno wild cards. I don't know if she used them or not. And then I saw Bill Hoffman at his booth, and they were busy because we were talking about the Rafa tablet. Actually, my girl's using the tablet right now, doing some testing. So I'm sending messages back and forth to Bill and Will saying, "Hey, what about this? What about that? What about?" So Bill was laughing in the email this morning. So overall, Vegas was good. I think the Ann Ballard's, they had a retirement thing for her. The roast went well from what I hear. Trade show floor, from the vendor's perspective, I thought it was packed. I don't know, Bill, Sherry and Bill, what your thoughts were being on the trade show floor both days, but the first day was packed.
Our booth was stacked full of people all day, every day. And the energy felt so good this whole show. I don't know what y'all thought about it, but my gosh, yeah, it was busy. It was fun. It was exciting. Of course, we have some new things going on in our booth, but I thought it was fantastic. And yes, I did play Uno. Thank you for the cards. Sorry, your wife got stopped with them in the airport.
Okay. And Jim, Dave Cooper and I did do a recap podcast interview with the Ask the Expert for Sherry. She wasn't there, so we did with Shannon, but it was good.
Good. Had a decent turnout for because yours is like an additional paid session, wasn't it?
Ours, I think we had 120 in the room, I think, somewhere in that area.
Nice.
So it was a lot of interaction, a lot of fun.
And actually, it was interactive. I was going to ask if it was interactive and not just.
It was very interactive.
Slide. Good.
We actually asked. I asked a question in a room, and I said, I kind of joked that we could corrupt society right now if everybody wrote in cursive and drove a stick shift. And I asked how many people could drive a stick shift in the room, and actually probably about 30-40% of the hands went up, which I was highly impressed with.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
I was expecting if you can drive a stick shift in a storage workshop, but cool. Leave it to you to throw a curveball. Hey, it's been a while since we've done this. If you don't mind, I want to take just a few minutes up top. I'm just going to call. If you have your camera on, I just want to call in you real quick. Just say hi, what you do in the storage industry, real quick. Just kind of do a quick roll call. Kind of helps to put a little bit better of cohesiveness of who's on these calls and who's joining us each week, because we're starting to get the familiar faces. So some new people are coming on. Just take a minute if you don't mind. So take yourself off mute. I'll call on you. Yeah, who you are, what you do in the storage industry. We'll go from there. So I'm just going to go in the order I see. Jennifer, Laura, Lara, however you pronounce your last name. Again, you're on mute, so.
Okay, there you go. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm the property manager at Big Spring Rock Storage. I do manage 2 businesses here. I work with the Smoots. So I'm going to be here 4 years next month, actually.
4 years? Congrats.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you're officially a veteran in the storage industry if you've made it past that long and beat in management. So.
Yes.
Pamela Shepard.
Good morning. I work for Coast Property Management. I'm an area manager, so I manage multiple properties. I've been here about 3 years. Prior to that, I was working for an owner operator for many years. So 2 very, very different experiences. And yeah, I just really appreciate these Q&As. They're fun too.
Pam,
Well,
you work for Dave Reed?
I do work with Dave Reed.
Dave is a phenomenal guy. I love chatting with him, and I spoke to your guys' session last year.
Yep. We got that training session coming up in less than a month. I mean, it sneaks up on me just like Christmas every year. But
is it like
yeah.
a training session within your company, internal company?
Right, and Coast Property Management also manages housing, all kinds of housing. So it's a big company, but we love storage. We love storage, and I absolutely adore working with Dave Reed.
Good deal. All right, we're gonna get Dave on here then. All right,
He's usually on here. He's not here today. But he's here.
Dave is Dave took a few days off, and speaking of Hawaii,
His parents live there.
Lucky.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll keep things moving real quick. Amanda Hughes. I know you don't have your camera on, but you mentioned something with your settings, but if we can hear you, introduce yourself and take yourself off mute. And if you're on, just go and take yourself off mute right now. Make it easy.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? All right. I'm a property manager in Abbeville, Louisiana. I also work for the Smoots. I do have 2 properties that I manage, and this is my first time in storage. I do have real estate background, including single family residential and traditional, regular real estate. So that's where my spirits comes in, and I really enjoy working for them. And
good deal. I've known the Smoots for a long time, so
yes.
It's Bill Hoffman.
Hi, I'm Bill Hoffman. I work with Spearbox Technologies. We provide automation for walkthrough, audit, and brand standards, facility level operations. We provide a square foot optimization tool and a revenue management tool that we released to the market. And those were all built from Sparefoot Storage, Sparebox Storage, which is a 110 property operator that runs 100% remote, no local facility staff. So it's really been cool since that's the topic. Automating operations finally get some technology, right? It's not just the revenue management and the website folks. So yeah, thank you for giving me just a minute there, Jim.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I know both gyms are testing out your products, so I'm sure shortly we'll have a session just about you guys, frankly, and kind of talk about it. So it's great.
That'd be wonderful.
Tim Shelton.
Hey guys, yeah, my name is Timothy. I started a storage portfolio with another guy about 2 years ago. We grew to about 20 facilities, had the management company in house. So we built that too from scratch. And here recently I just left. And so now I'm doing the exact same thing on my own. So I have T2 Capital. And so we're buying storage facilities as a syndication model. But I'm also starting another company called Broker Plus AI, which helps buyers find deals, or excuse me, helps brokers find buyers. And so that's a really cool software that's just being launched. Actually, I just launched pre-sales today.
Very cool.
Cool. Congrats, man. I'll have to dig more into that later too. Maybe we can do a little spotlight on it. Glenn Whiteside, I know your camera's on, but if you're on here, can unmute yourself. Say hi. Go ahead. Nope. Oh well, we'll move on. Eva, say hi, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eva. I've been working for the industry for 9 years now, but I've been doing marketing for 15. I kind of stumbled into it. I'd done marketing for so many other variation sectors, and I started at a property management company that only dealt with storage. I just stayed there for 4 years, and then I met somebody who was part of that portfolio of properties that we manage, who decided he wanted to start his own tech startup company. So I moved from that property management company over to a tech startup company where I helped the industry develop, well, I helped in the back end develop a CRM, payment portal, website, and all the integrations that kind of went into that had to do with marketing. And then I kind of wanted to do it for everybody and not just for one specific product. So I decided to start my own business about 1.5 years ago, and that's where I'm at now, speaking of marketing. So I'm just your friendly marketing person for the industry.
Yeah, any SEL questions? Like, that's who you got to talk to. All right, who we got? Marvin.
Hi, good morning.
Sorry, yeah, this is Marv Remick. I'm out of California. I've been a broker for 40 years. I have 3 facilities, owner, manager, one in Pensacola, one in Meridian, Idaho, and one in Napa, Idaho. So I self-manage them myself.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you. Nice and succinct. That's awesome. All right. Roll call. We got Ryan Hogan.
Hey, Jim. Ryan Hogan. I'm in East Tennessee. Used to live in Asheville for a few years. I'm looking to purchase my first self-storage facility. So I just want to say thanks to Jim&Jim and the others that go through the kind of day-to-day operations, learning, and that's very helpful.
That's great. Are you looking anywhere? Are you looking for a certain geographic area?
Personally, kind of within a 4-hour driving radius would be helpful, but I've got some family up in the Boston, Massachusetts area, so I'm also open kind of to the New England area because I get back there to visit family. So kind of those 2 areas.
Oh, there you go. All right, Martin Garcia.
Yes, good morning. My name is Martin Garcia Rosa. I own one facility in Asheville, North Carolina, and looking for more facilities, kind of similar to Ryan. So if anybody is into wholesaling or any deals, would be more than happy to take a look at. Areas are primarily North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, Northern Alabama, Florida. I'm based in Florida. And the rest I'm open, other than I'm not too familiar with, but certainly other areas would look into it too. So I don't see geography to be a limitation.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you. I was going to call on James France, but he just booked it. So let's go to Rebecca.
Hi guys, my name is Rebecca Fitzgerald. I own a company called Fitz Storage Solutions, and I currently manage a portfolio of 21 properties.
Nice. Yeah.
Where's your portfolio at, Rebecca?
I'm kind of nationwide, actually. I have from New York, I have 5 properties in North Carolina, 1 in Virginia, Bowling Green, Kentucky, 3 in Georgia, 7 in Mississippi, 2 in Missouri.
You're on the road like me.
Yeah.
You do traditional, remote, all it does?
So I do a lot of remote management, and I do have a lot of different boots on the grounds and techniques, and I go out to the properties quarterly.
Oh, cool. Good deal. James is back. We'll get you. James France.
Hey, my name is James. Obviously, I'm in Western Canada. I'm the regional manager for Pocket Self Storage. We have 6 facilities out here on the prairies and in Vancouver. We constructed a brand new facility in downtown Vancouver, which is no small achievement. I would say 26 months ago it opened, something like that. So I just pulled up my reports here. We have 2,900 units rented, 180 vacant, and 303,000 square feet rented. And I'm sitting in a facility this year. We transitioned 2 of our smaller properties to remote, and it's been going well. We'll see how longer term it plays out, but yeah, just doing a little bit of everything in self-storage.
We may have to pick on you a little bit during this session. I'm curious about those kind of transitions from traditional to remote, so we'll see. Tracy Riddle, if you're able, I know you don't have your camera on, but if you're able to unmute yourself, say hi, go right ahead. And if not, 3, 2, 1. Nope. Okay. Bill. Bill Hoffman.
You already did Bill.
I did Bill. Hey, the screen changed on me. I think I hit everybody. Everyone else left. Cool. All right, we're good. I don't do it all the time, but it's nice to just kind of get a pulse of who's joining us, and I think it helps everybody else kind of get a flavor of who's jumping on these things. So all good. Anyway, kind of jumping back to the SSA. Anything from that show you wanted to chat about? That was your homework assignment, so come on. Anything good? You, Jim.
Oh, me.
Yeah, I think on you now.
You know, I think Sherry and I talked about it when we were there. It was like old home week. You know, get to see everybody, get to hug everybody, compare notes, what's going on. I mean, I love, you know, I got to spend a little bit of time with Eva talking some marketing stuff, and spend time with Bill and just meeting new people. And I see Sonia's back on here from Calculate. I had lunch with her boss Ross, and working on a couple things there. It's just the energy in the room. You know, some of the keynotes were a little, I don't want to say downers like, but there were some politics start talking, and look, we all have our opinion. We're not going to get into that, but you know, it is what it is. Market's going to be where it's at. I think the freight, you know, we're all kind of, you know, this is the new normal again, guys. We're back to, you know, I met some people who were panicking because, well, I bought 2 years ago and, you know, it was 98% occupied. Now I'm at 92 and I'm scared. I'm like, don't be. But just some of the things in our session was cool. The interaction back and forth on, you know, who was charging admin fees, who wasn't, whether protection plans or insurance is required or not required, selling, you know, locks and sales, stuff like that. Just picking up little tidbits. And I think the big message I left in the room, and I ask everybody when I meet them, guys, it's like I say, it's not rocket science. We rent 3 walls and a door with an air. But what would
all right?
You got to say, and I always say, what would 3 more rentals do for your property? And one thing I've realized glaring this time is a lot of people don't know length of stay, lifetime value of a customer. So when you're missing a phone call, oh, it's just 1 phone call. But if you realize, hey, that person's worth $2,700 in value to us, or they're going to be here for 16 months, makes a big difference.
I just did I was mentioned before we started here, I did like an hour-and-a-half webinar for the California Self-Storage Association yesterday. All about marketing, but anytime I do a marketing presentation, the first 6 slides every single time, and I spend a good 10, 15 minutes on it, is nothing but that. Know your numbers, know your lifetime value of a customer, because once you have that, you know how much you're willing to spend to acquire that customer. It makes the decision making so much easier when you're talking about your website and updating your website and your SEO and all that kind of stuff. But like you just said, not to pick on people, but most people haven't spent the time to sit down and crunch the numbers. It doesn't take that long. to get good rough estimates. You get some people that try to break down by size code and like, I don't care about that. I like good generalities for the facility. And if you just look at just basic numbers of average units, $100, length of stay is 12 months, $1,200. Cool. Get an extra 3 rentals, crunch the numbers, put a 6 cap on that. That's 60 grand in increased value, especially if you put a cap on it. And it kind of perks the ears up and gets the attention of the owners going, oh, there actually is a ROI on focusing on these marketing strategies. So
Sherry just said data isn't lying. That's right, Sherry. I got to call you after this because I was having a conversation with one of your customers. I want to talk to you about it. But somebody just said I do a life. So Amanda said you do a monthly report with lifetime value. Can you share what your lifetime value is right now? I mean, is something you want to share with us?
I'll have to go back to it. Yes, let's see.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think
I'm gonna pick on Rebecca because she runs a multi-store. Rebecca, what's your average length of stay for your tenant base? And does it vary from with all the states you're in? Are you seeing a variance from southeast to north? North. I mean, you said New York, so what part of New York?
So the facility is located in Kent or Carmel Hamlet, New York. It's about an hour and a half from New York City. It's 15 minutes from Connecticut. The lifetime value does depend on the facility area. I'm seeing anywhere from, 36 months, a year, some places. Those are mostly areas that are fluctuating right now, and it definitely depends on red and blue states. Definitely.
You're right. And a lot of it goes, I just had an email this morning from my partner. He was like, oh my God, what's wrong with Manhattan, Kansas? And I'm like, Claire, it's college town. We lost college kids. So you need to know. So when you're looking at data, and Bill, you made a good point here. You recommend using the average lifetime value or median lifetime value. It really is going to be market specific because in certain markets, if you have a college town, that's going to definitely skew your length of stay. So, I mean, you can flag it. You can do certain things that you want to back out your college kids. But what I like to do is look at my lifetime stay after the colleges are out. So the people who are in-house currently take the college out of the equation. Because if you run length of stay in June, July, August, September, you're skewed by college kids.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely recommend doing the median. Oh, who's that? I don't want to interrupt somebody. Now I definitely use median. I always take the first 10%, the last 10%, those tails, cut those off because that skews things dramatically. But like you were just saying,
you got business customers. Business customers can really skew your data.
Oh, I have a site in Salt Lake that I always crunch the numbers because it still blows my mind that we're very business oriented in this one market. Our lifetime value, I've capped it at 5 years. I just any more than that like throws all the numbers. It's insane. It's literally like 5 years for the lifetime value. So not just the locations, but kind of like even your unit mix sometimes can affect that. These are bigger size units. They're not built for 10 by 10s and smaller. So even that kind of skews the numbers. So yeah, it's definitely something you want to focus on, especially right now when people are like, I need to get the phone to ring. Like, all right, well, let's start talking about the marketing, but know what you're willing to spend to get the customer in the first place. And that's dovetails right into knowing what your lifetime value is.
For sure. I believe phone calls are seasonal too. Of course, depending on your demographics, like Jim said, if you're by a college town, but we know busy season for us being a call center, being the one that takes the phone calls, we usually ramp up in April and the season starts slowing down August towards September. October, November, December, January, February are usually a little bit slower, obviously, for weather and that sort of thing. But like Jim said, if you're by a college town or you live up north and there's severe weather or live on the East Coast where there's hurricanes, there's a lot of things that determine what that looks like. But for the most part, yes, Jennifer, that is pretty normal to have your calls start slowing down and rentals, obviously.
Well, Sherry, unless you're on West Coast, because I can tell you when I was my last company, we had stores that were in Palm Springs, California, in that area. We saw uptick in rentals in the fall because the snowbirds were moving.
Yes. Yep. like I said, demographic wise, it really matters where you're
Just-
located for
Just
sure.
like I don't think she's on here right now, but we have people from Fargo, North Dakota, usually on here from 5-Star. And I can tell you that their activity definitely slows down in the winter because it's when you got 5 feet of snow on the ground, nobody's moving anywhere.
No. Good time to raise those rent rates, right, Jim?
Exactly.
I hate to leave, but I have a meeting I have to go to. It was great seeing you all again. Thanks for
Good.
your time and for what you do. And we'll talk to you next time. Jim, call me
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Tracy made a great point about the military base, especially when you have your, like we got a store down by Norfolk, and when the ships are rotating in and out, the fleets are rotating, you're going to see that churn. Same thing if you got Hawaii, anytime you're near a base, if you got military rotations going on, you know, you're going to have that going on. So you want to know having that data. And Jim, I talked with somebody in Vegas about, you can't just, if it's a data point you're looking at, great, but understand how you calculate the data. And that's for me, I would rather build the reports I utilize. I would rather build the reports because I get more out of building the report than just reading it, because you see trends and tendencies in them.
Yeah. Interesting. I was reading the comment here from Bill. He was saying he's still shocked how many people at the SSA, so just recently, told me they refused to use Sparefoot to acquire customers just because it cost them, 2.5 months rent? Too expensive? I've had the conversation 1,000 times. Literally, I just had one last week with a site in Colorado that's been around for 10 years. I'm not getting the calls. If I can maybe on there. If he is, sorry, plug your ears for a second. But he's like been around for 10 years and he's at dropping. He's at 60% occupied right now. I'm like, all right, let's throw everything on the table and for marketing. And we, of course, Sparefoot was one of the top ones. And before I even got into what the bidding was and what it currently was, it's like, nope. On principle alone, I'm not gonna do it. It just totally just killed the idea. I'm like, what are we talking about? If it costs you 2.5, 3 times sometimes. I think 2.5 is the minimum right now, but if you know what your lifetime value is, cool, and you're 60%, do it. You need to get going.
My argument's always been that, and I can tell you, last year my average cost per spend was $133 for Sparefoot. They got me over 1,200 rentals across my platform. And my argument is, and Bill's shaking his head right now because he heard this last week, if I wasn't on their platform, would I have gotten even half of them? My answer is no. But what I've seen with people with Sparefoot and where people, I don't want to say screw up, but do Sparefoot wrong. Okay, I'm going to give Sparefoot only my 5x10s or only my 10x10s. And that algorithm that they utilize is tricky. And there's a lot more points to it. You got reviews and clicks and all these things. And if you're going to limit what you're going to put on Sparefoot, it's going to hurt your algorithm, and you're going to wind up, hurting yourself. Bill and I had a conversation because most of my stores are the minimum bid rate, right? And I can tell you right now that I saw somebody who was bidding 4.0, right? And I ranked higher than them because I had better reviews, I had better pictures, I had better traffic, I had a better closing percentage. And when you get better and better and better in their algorithm, they're going to rank you more because they know the chances of that customer renting is going to be dramatically better, and they are going to get paid.
You bring it up all the time. I mean, you bring it up all the time. So it's very important. So I was a good boy. I took your advice and I went through it and re-optimized all my locations. So we'll see how that goes. Because I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes you set it and forget it, and it's been a long time. You blink and a year goes by, and you're like, I should have done this a while ago, going back and looking at things with a fresh set of eyes and new pictures, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I'm guilty of it.
I had a conversation with Shannon Charbonneau from XPS, and I asked her, I said, you have a lot of customers. All the vendors have lots of customers, and you guys all know this. But does it concern you when you have a customer that you never, ever, ever hear from? And she said, 1,000% yes. Because I'm going to get the phone call one day, they're leaving because they've had a problem with A, B, C, and D and never communicated with that to me. And if I don't know there's a problem, we can't work together. Jim, we talk about it all the time, having regular, quarterly, monthly, whatever you want to, cadence you want to do, have calls with your vendors and hold them accountable. Whether it's your website team, your marketing team, your call center team, your technology team like Bill, whoever, I don't care who it is, hold them accountable.
Yeah, it's
Besides Bill loves what I call Bill. I'll call Bill and say, "Hey, I got an idea or I got a suggestion," and Bill's like, "Oh crap, here we go."
Hey, I'm going to hold you to that. You said once a quarter, so I don't want to hear from you for the next 90 days.
I
Isn't that
said
what
it's
you just said?
occasional. I like mine are weekly.
But it's like for like as a management company, I do that for my owners. And there's some owners I have to like beg, like, please book a time so we can talk, just to have that communication. Because it's, I don't know, it's a little freaky sometimes if things get way too quiet for way too long. It's like we still need to touch base. So that's one of my rules is when if you're a client, it's like we got to talk at least minimum once a month.
Let's just ask Eva a marketing question. I know she's just sitting there quietly, which is strange. But so Eva, in the marketing world, things are changing for you daily, right? With Google and all that. So if you don't talk to a customer and you don't update things and tweak things and change things for 6 months, what kind of effect is that going to have on a customer?
I would never go 6 months without talking to one of my clients, first and foremost. I'm like on an email basis with most of my clients on a weekly basis.
Good.
I make sure that they see what their changes are in a report base, at least where I'm touching base with them. And then, on a monthly basis, I send out my request for phone calls. And even then, if they've gone a couple of months without joining my phone call because they think the marketing is going well, what I'll do is I will record myself going in and going over everything and telling them things have changed. And I'd really like to sit down and talk to them because I'm always 50,000 feet up compared to what you guys are on the ground. Just one of my clients today told me that a lot of the houses that were being built during the pandemic have recently been finished being built and they had a mass move out. And so I was just like, I didn't know that was something that was happening in the area. And, they told me that and I would have never known that. So now I'm changing some of the geographic areas that I'm marketing to. Specifically. So it's just as simple as like a comment that one of my clients makes that we have in conversation. And I'm like, oh, that actually goes towards your marketing. Let me make that change over here. So it's every day. I don't think I'd ever go more than a month without talking to your marketing person.
So part two of the question is, I just had a call with my website team. We were talking about one of our new stores and we we're talking about keywords, right? Now, marketing people are very, very good at what they do, but they're sitting in Tennessee or Texas or Kansas City, whatever. They might not necessarily know the names for some of the towns or the areas around that store. And I know Google will give that to you when you look at the maps and pull them back and forth. But having that conversation with, hey, yes, my store is in Akron, Ohio, but it's actually right on the Cuyahoga Falls border. So we should be pulling from Cuyahoga Falls more than we should be from Akron. And if that communication line's not there between both partners, we're not going to do well together. And then we're not going to look good. They're not going to look good. It's not going to work.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, that's important.
It comes to the point of like, I've had some clients that, they're right in the middle of their 3-mile radius is a river. And at no point in that 3-mile radius do they have a bridge that runs over from one side of that river to their side of the river. So we've had to make sure that when we're marketing or we're actually putting together those keywords and all of that demographic, we're pushing it up towards the top part. And so their 3-mile radius, they sit at the bottom of their radius actually, instead of in the middle of it, the way that we want to market that specific location. So little things like that you're looking at the area, you're talking to them. Sometimes even neighborhoods, suburbs are keywords that you want to pull up as well, because some people know an area better by a neighborhood versus than they know it by the city name. And if you're specifically targeting that neighborhood, that's what you're going to want to show up for. So yeah, those are important conversations.
Well, I'm going to ask Rebecca, because again, she's got multiple stores and multiple locations. How well, as a management company, do you know that area that you're in, and you're relying more on your boots on the ground people to know certain things in that area to feed you data back? And when you're there, I know when I'm in an area, I'm going to local restaurants and I'm asking questions. What do you call the area? What's good about this area? What's around here? Whether it's, people visiting, where they come to visit. My one store, Lucas Speedway, is right down the road from us. So we're using that as a keyword, that we're by Lucas Speedway.
Right. So a lot of times that you're not going to find out a lot. And if say you're in a college town like Lynchburg, Virginia, or something like that, and you don't know what's really going on in your area, what colleges are in your area, what are keywords that you need to use. We have a facility in North Carolina that all of our traffic is actually coming from Emporia, Virginia. So, checking your rent roll and your move-ins and move-out statuses to see where your clients are actually driving from is a great way to figure out who your clientele actually is. And it fluctuates.
That was a good. So Rebecca, what software do you use?
So multiple softwares, actually, storage and ESS predominantly.
Do you ever use the pinpoint map in the software? Because I've done that in my stores, or Sunlink has a good pinpoint map, and I'll use the map and pinpoint our customers. I've asked them multiple times to pinpoint the people who moved out, but a lot of times when I look at a pinpoint map, and I used to have a store in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we managed to always complain. And when I pulled the pinpoint, we actually put our competition on the pinpoint map as well, so you could see it. And you could see that people were driving right by 3 competitors or living right there to get to us, or the competitive advantage. But knowing, like you said, knowing where they're coming from, and I don't know whether you were even at the river. I had a store that was in Staten Island, New York, and I hated it. But when we did our first marketing blast, the company we hired said 90% of the mail to New Jersey because it's closer. But nobody's going to drive over the bridge from New Jersey to New York to store. So we wasted money. Lesson learned that make sure when you're doing those things, you know what your geographic area is.
So I was going to ask what your beef was with New York. So, okay, now I know. Yeah, you answered that question.
Dude, I do not want to set foot in New York City ever again. My kid, thank you, Rebecca. My daughter for her birthday wanted to go to a play in New York. I paid for it. I sent them there. I paid for the train, everything. I ain't going.
Wow. Right.
I turned down a consulting job in New York City. He goes, I'll pay you double. I'm like, I'm not coming. I ain't going.
See, I had the exact opposite experience. I went to Bethel for a consulting job in Bethel, New York, and I loved it, but whatever. I was only there for a few days and I got out of there. So
you can keep it. Anybody calls me for New York, Jim, I'm sending them your way.
Go ahead. Hey, Eva, I want to pick on you real quick again, since we're talking about service areas and things like that. And this will hold more weight coming from the marketing guru than me just blabbing on, because this just came up yesterday. Google Business Profile optimization. The section where it says service area, I hear both back and forth of leave it blank because we don't deliver, or I'm going to pound it with all sorts of different areas that I serve.
So that is actually something that used to have. So there's 2 reasons why you're hearing 2 sides of that story. Yeah. So there used to be a reason why Google had that area. It was specifically meant for only service areas. And they told people, do not fill that out unless that is a service area. More recently, in the past like 2 or 3 years, they've changed that. And they said, fill it out to anywhere that your customers might come from. So that's the shift in mentality. So anywhere that you know that your clients are, you're reaching those people, they're coming from that area, you do want to fill in that area as best as possible. I would not suggest going further than like maybe 10 miles from your city. And really, really quickly, a lot of people think that it's just city names. They have neighborhoods. They have, you know, all of the little suburbs, all of those little tiny names that you think maybe won't show up. They have that available in that search area, in that service area. So you can actually pinpoint a lot of the areas that are in the same city and not necessarily change out the city if you're in a smaller city or a bigger city and you want to just have like the neighborhoods as your call outs as well. So it's really important to, like Jim Mooney said, zoom in and out of your area on the map and just look at the little geographical like names that pop up and see if you can put those into your service area on Google My Business. And it's huge. I fill out as many as you possibly can. I think it's 20.
20? Okay. Again, that's what we're just talking about, the Google Business Profile. Log on to your thing under, I think it's under description, then in that area, or the info section, they'll have like the service area.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about.
I'll give you a good one, Jim. We had in our session last week, we were talking about, you know, I'm passionate about reviews and getting reviews, even those that we all talk about reviews. And I'm sitting there and I said to the room, I said, hey, you know, reviews. And if you ever go into a place that only has 5-star reviews and you're all skeptical, had a guy sitting in the front row said, no, that's 100% false. I only have 5-star reviews and I'm perfect. I'm like, well, congratulations for you. But for the real world, you know, I would rather see 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, a lot of reviews and a lot of recent relevant reviews. Because if your reviews are 6 months old or older, that doesn't count. But just going through that thing was listening to people. And one guy goes, well, I don't respond to any. He goes, well, you know, when I opened my store, and I'll ask, even it's more directed to you. When I opened my store, I had my friends, my coworkers, and my family all do reviews for me. And I've always been told that if Google cannot place your phone within the proximity of that geofenced area, it has a lesser weight to the review?
It can go one of two ways depending. So Google looks at like there's like probably like 40 points that it looks at for that weighted review. One of them is your actual area when you're specific like putting out the review, but also like I've put out reviews and I mentioned specifically that I'm renting for a relative in the area. So Google's bots can read all of that information, kind of correlate it back and say, oh, you're renting for a relative in the area. You specified it's got a lot longer of a storyline to it. Boom. They'll give it a little bit more weight because I've actually put more content into it. So you can battle it different ways.
Right.
But you are
If
not
a
wrong.
person just gives you a 5-star review and they've never been anywhere near it, it's a
It's
flag,
not going to
right?
do much. It's not going to do much.
So
Yeah. And another big thing. So like on that same point, so I go to conferences for the marketing industry as well as I do for the storage industry because I like to keep myself relevant in both. And one of the things to that effect is that when you're looking for Chinese takeaway or like any kind of Asian food takeaway, the best food places are going to be at a 3 to 4 star. The best with the best food, because the person can't find themselves hard pressed enough to rate the food poorly because the service was bad. So they'll still give them a 3 or a 4 star, even though they think that the service was bad there. And those are usually the best food, like the best Chinese are the best places to actually get your food from, which is hilarious. Here in California, it's like a standard nomenclature to look for 3 to 4 stars when you're looking for your Chinese food.
crazy.
So.
That's interesting. I want to take a few minutes if you don't mind. I sent that thing from last time we did to ISS. I sent it to Amy. She's like, that was awesome. Do you mind if we take 5 minutes and answer a question? We'll do it again.
Sure.
Is that cool? All right, let me pull it up here.
While you're pulling that up, Amanda's got a statement on here. I just did the SpareFoot introductory training. It shows how to use it and how SpareFoot works, including bidding. So Amanda, what did you think about training? Was it useful, helpful, or was it just an hour of time wasted?
No, it was great. I had needed to change the photos. We did a lot of improvements here at the facility, and they had the original photos. It taught me how to do that, explain the bidding like you were saying. So the more units you have on SpareFoot, you will rank higher. Explained all of that. So definitely it was maybe an hour, 15 hour and a half, and it was definitely worth it.
Cool.
That's great. I just gotta say, Eva, you always win the award for the best background. Natural background. Mine's fake. Yours is natural background. It's cool.
This guy right here is like my pride and joy. I don't know if you guys can see it. He crawls all the way up the wall. But I got him when he was he was like 3 leaves, and he's been on my wall since I started my business. So I have this like theory that if he dies, my business will die. So I take care of it so well. But yeah, this was for you guys. And so you guys don't look at my face anymore. Just look
it's great. The background kind of reminds me of like when you're a kid and you have those workbooks and you try to find the objects in the picture.
Oh yeah, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should start hiding something and like weekly, like, oh, you get a discount for services if you find it.
Exactly. All right, here I just picked this. Let me share my screen. This was just at the top of self-storage talk.
Next time, Bill, you got to be riding the exercise bike to be cool.
Okay, so for this, this is a post on Inside Self Storage, their talk forum. Just kind of picking a question here at random. I think this is on the very top that I saw. So hey, we'll go with it.
Using music to keep homeless away.
Yeah, interesting. So extra space using music to keep homeless away. Interesting news from today. An ESS facility in San Diego is blasting music to annoy a nearby homeless camp. What do you think of this? How do you keep transients away from your property?
Well, as long as it might depending on the music, because I mean they could play good music, they might want to stay. So it's something they probably don't want to hear,
The dance party. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I actually experienced this same type of thing at one of our facilities in Tulsa last year. And what I ended up doing was I flew up there and I installed a security horn and sensors. And so if they ever like camped out or like lived anywhere near, the sensors would go off. Of course, they wouldn't go off in the daytime, be pretty much after hours. So I wouldn't like, mess with customers or anything like that. It would be after hours. And so that siren would just go off like for 3 or 4 hours. And let me tell you, it cleared up pretty quickly.
Was it like motion censored or was it timed? It just
it was a motion sensor. So like if you cross the sensor, and I just kind of set it to where it wasn't necessarily on my property, but sort of kind of was where I saw them habitating. So yeah, that sense or that horn just absolutely really.
I mean,
helped.
it's I mean, not to pick on them, but it's timely because I'm going through this right now. I have an owner that has a site in Oregon and has a site here in Salt Lake. And like 3 years ago, his site in Oregon, a homeless guy camped next door and burnt down an entire building. So he's very conscious of that. And right now in Salt Lake, we have a site, literally, he just called me like an hour ago, that just on the other side of our facility is the freeway. And from the freeway, it goes down, so it's kind of like grassy area type of a thing. And we're getting some homeless camp out there. And it's making him a nervous wreck, which I kind of get, kind of depending from what happened in the past. So yeah, I'm kind of going through that as well right now. And I know the cops kind of go there and they do their sweep when they do, kind of a thing, but it doesn't last very long. They come right back. So I don't know. It's a fine line to do here.
It's tough because when the cops go out there, they'll do a little bit, but the cops don't stay. And so we literally had people be like, okay, but when you leave, we're just gonna come right back.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happens every time. They just come right back.
We had a property in North Carolina in Winston-Salem area that had a major issue with the shopping center behind us and the fence line and trees. We were having break-ins on the fence line left and right, and they weren't doing anything, but we use night owl cameras. And the cameras actually you can set them up for motion lights and for camera will talk to you when there's motion. So we actually set only on the fence line. We set the motion to when you walk by that camera, it said smile, you're on camera or you're being recorded or something like that. And the lights would come on. And I can tell you what, our problem went away on the fence line. Really? Because the lights and cameras were deterring people enough that, okay, we had enough coverage. So we made sure we had good coverage. We actually put more than we needed on that fence line, but it solved my problem.
Okay. Well, we're 2 for 2. Okay. That's all. I'll probably do that for myself, and we'll post this and send it on the ISS forum. So I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Now we're back to our regularly scheduled program. We can talk about whatever. I just want to do that for Amy. Okay? I sent that to her last week. It's like, that was awesome. Do it again.
Jim, on your so I'm going to pick on you for your marketing thing yesterday, 3 hours. What was your big takeaway from your marketing session?
Yeah. Well, it was only an hour and a half. Come on. Don't exaggerate. Wasn't that long.
So what was the big takeaway or the questions from I know you do, like I do, always interact with the people. What was their big takeaway? What was the one big hot topic yesterday?
Honestly, that's the one thing when you do webinars. I don't know if you've experienced it or not. You get done with your webinar and it's like, all right, any questions? And like no one asks the questions. People make comments, during it. They're like, hey, that was awesome. I like that slide, or a great idea. But it's so hard to get engagement, which is kind of why I started this. Frankly, this is so much more engaging and having conversational than just here's my webinar and then comment about it. Because I didn't get very many after that. But essentially it was an hour and a half of marketing playbook. Frankly, of just kind of A to Z, throwing everything against the wall. It's kind of what I do with all my owners when we first take over. Just throwing everything against the wall, all the different marketing strategies, make sure we're all in agreement, implement it, frankly, not just lip service and talk about it and say we're going to do it, and then 3 months later nothing's changed.
You see this post from Tracy? You all thought on who's better, lock storage or spare foot? Who's lock storage?
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Tracy, you want to chime on that? Because I have no idea who lock storage is.
I think this is Amanda. I think that lock storage is a part. That is what we're called, lock storage. But I believe it's a part of Sparefoot's other advertising. They do it in several different platforms. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but
Oh,
as a sponsored link kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, so sponsored links are different where you can pay to be sponsored. Because I know Sparefoot has multiple other pages that are all under the Sparefoot umbrella with all different names.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sparefoot's really the only one out there that does what they do. There's a few other smaller ones. Like US Storage Search used to do one, and StorageLocator.com used to do one, but none of them had the bandwidth that Sparefoot has. So if you're going to spend the money, and like Jim and Bill said, and look, guys, here's the point. If you did an incognito search in your market and Sparefoot doesn't show up anywhere on the page, fine. But I would bet that's few and very far between. But if you do a search and Sparefoot's there right around you, and you know people are clicking on them because people don't know any better, it's like Expedia and all those ones. Make sure, or just go to sparefoot.com and plug in your zip code and see who's around you showing up. If your competitors are there, you might want to be there. And I see Pam's got her hand up. So, Pam, you got a question?
Going back to the security aspect, because this is very timely for me. So we had a situation at a facility where, we have some vulnerable areas where the backside of the buildings are not, they're exposed. The front is, within the facility, but the walls on the rear. So the bad guys decided that they were going to attempt to back the sheet screws out. Okay, we caught it before we had any incidents. So the first knee-jerk reaction is to chain link with some razor wire and make those vulnerable areas
You got to watch razor wire. You got to watch razor wire in certain areas. It's not legal, and the ramifications of it is horrible. There's actually, I saw recently in the city of Philadelphia, down by the sports complex, somebody impaled themselves on a fence trying to cut through a parking lot. And now they're suing the people who had the fence because they got injured on their fence, even though they shouldn't have been there.
Right.
I would, if you could put a camera back there with a light on it, I would say that's better because then you can view stuff. Look, cameras and locks and keys are all meant to keep the honest people out. The criminals are going to get where they want to go. But if you can have a deterrent light up there, or even, maybe it's not a camera, maybe it's just motion lights back there. Put up a motion light. When somebody walks by, the light comes on, scare the hell out of them.
Well, I love that idea of an alert being, a horn going off, or some sort of smile, you're on camera, you're being recorded, going to your, an alert that would go to your cell phone, after hours. So what was that, Jim? Was it Night Owl?
Night Owl is the camera system we use. Nightowl.com is the website.
Okay. So would you go with chain link and say barbed wire plus everything else, or can you avoid the chain link by just scaring them?
Well, I would put the lights up first and see what happens there. Because how many linear feet are you going to put up on fence?
Oh, it's going to be hundreds of feet.
So I would say that for last resort. I would put the lights up and the cameras up, but I would also make sure that area is well lit. So back there and it's clean, no debris, no trash. But if you have a light on there, but I think a motion light out there would scare people as well. And like Timothy said, the horn. Timothy, where'd you get that horn at? Is it something you can get readily?
I'll have to look it up. I ended up buying something on Amazon that was like a whole system with the sensors, the horn. It even had other stuff you could like connect to it. So I'd have to go through and find it. But then I even got one that had like a power outlet that also controlled. And so then I put strobe lights on it. And so now it's like, okay, now there's a siren going off and then there's police lights.
See, so yeah, to the extra space doing the music, there's our dance party we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's-
You got strobe lights that are red and blue and you got a siren going off, people start running.
Yeah. No, it's
Is it so quickly? I don't know, because in California, like red and blue lights are really legal on any any building unless they're actually specifically police lights. So I would be careful. I don't know if in your state that's okay, but in our state in California for sure that would not be okay. But you could do other colors. So you can mimic it like by doing like purple and pink, right? And then if they come and like try to check it, you'd be like, it's purple and pink, it's not blue and red. But just a quick caveat to that, sorry.
very good.
That's helpful. I didn't know that. It wasn't the case in my state. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, some states are fine. I think it's just because there's a lot of people who impersonate cops here because it's hard to get a cop to come out to a facility or
Let's
anywhere.
face it, that's why you're in California, right? You know?
Yeah, I mean, they don't even care here. They're just like, wait, there's a problem, and they hang up. No, just kidding.
Talk to your governor.
Just a quick FYI, I'd rather top the hour. We'll cut it. I like to keep these right at 60 minutes. So if you got any last minute questions, comments, speak now. Otherwise, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
No, I just have a tool that I'm recommending to everybody, just because I think it's a great tool. So if everyone, if you're looking to see what you look like locally, check out Bright Local. It's just a great tool for, I know Jim, you use it.
Yep.
It helps you kind of see what you're looking like in your local area, and setting everything up is pretty simple. Just make sure that you have all your analytics in place, and then it kind of actually lets you know if you have your analytics in place as well. And it'll give you like a one place snapshot for all of your, local GBP, organic, and all of that. So that's the only thing I wanted to add on today.
Yeah.
Is that a subscription? Do you have to subscribe to that?
It
Ava?
has a free version of it that'll allow you to do most of the stuff, but then eventually you do have to subscribe. Once you get in there and you learn it, because it gives you a lot of free time,
Yeah.
it'll be worth it.
What do you think of their? I know they have like a cool little free audit tool kind of a thing. You just type in your domain and they'll send you like a snapshot report card.
Probably my favorite audit tool that's out there right now.
Is it cool? Let me see if I can find a link. We got 1 more minute. Let me see if I can find a link and I'll throw it in chat.
Run, Jim, run.
I'm looking.
Eve is the marketing queen.
Nah, we love
Did
when
you,
it shows up.
say Bright Local?
Bright Local, yes, that's correct.
Okay, even next time you got to wear a crown.
It might be upside down.
Here we go.
That's Jim's.
I actually still got it on my website. So here, I'll throw it on here.
Perfect.
Look, we're just making Rebecca laugh today. That's cool.
Yeah, she's definitely the best of the best.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that.
I just put the link in chat. It's just kind of gives you a 10,000 foot view, kind of report card, local SEO, kind of domain, that kind of stuff. So at least it kind of gets you on the right path.
I gotta say, Jim, we talked about backgrounds, but look at Ryan's background. It looks like the shelves on an angle over his shoulder.
Oh,
that's a pretty cool shelf.
I like it.
How did they stay up? All right. No, I like it. It's good.
Tree shelf. There you go.
All right.
You just Google tree shelf, there'll be some stuff on Amazon. So it was something different.
Cool. I like
Very
it.
cool. I like it.
There we go.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Off the air. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, it means a lot taking the time out of your day and joining us here for an hour. Hopefully you get something out of it each time. That's why we do this. So we'll see you here in 2 more weeks. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Appreciate it.
weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.